Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Sorry I don't have my normal bells and whistles and stuff like I normally do in my morning video. We're working on getting the Wi-Fi better. It's literally taking hours to upload. And since we're having an early meeting this morning where we're going to go out and do site visits to see the work that we need to do on these houses, I don't have time to go ahead and wait and watch the wheel go round and round while it's uploading. So let's do a recap of everything that's happened. It's kind of crazy this offseason because as a Dallas Cowboys YouTuber, there's always content because there's always drama going on. There's always all kinds of emotions and everything else. There's always people that are just plain pissed off and want to go ahead and just yell at somebody. A lot of times it's me. It's like, don't shoot the messenger, deal with the message. So we found out yesterday that Jared Goff, God, listen, let me be clear here. I am not mad at any player getting paid. We literally saw a player die on the field in Damar Hamlin. I don't know what you do for a living, but I don't know that at any play that you could literally die or anything that you're doing at your job. And you get compensated for that as an NFL player to a point. But when they're done with you, they're done with you. So I'm not mad about players getting paid because what they do to have to stay on the field, the average person can't go through the pain, can't go through the agony, can't go through the recovery to literally be the top 1,000th of 1% of people on the planet. So let's be clear here. The top of any profession gets paid. So I'm not mad at Jared Goff for getting that 4-year, $212 million, $170 million, fully guaranteed, second highest paid player in the NFL contract. And the reality is a couple of years from now, we're going to look at that contract and say, that was a bargain. I know it sounds crazy right now, but guys, people went crazy when Kirk Cousins got a fully guaranteed contract. 3 years, what was it? 68 or $78 million. They were like, oh my God, Kirk Cousins, highest paid quarterback in the NFL, $28 million. That's ridiculous. He doesn't deserve that. You wish you could get a quarterback for $28 million right now. It's literally doubled since Kirk Cousins has gotten that money. And guess what? It's not going to slow down. It will continue to go through the roof. The question becomes how do the teams actually manage that money? And that lies the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. You look at this team like, say, the Eagles, who have gotten Jalen Hurts locked down. Now, the problem for the Eagles will be if Jalen Hurts ends up not being the guy, they've got a lot of dead money. You can look at situations like the Cleveland Browns, who ended up giving $230 million fully guaranteed to Deshaun Watson, and they restructured his deal the first 2 years. Right now, they owe him $63 million cap hit the next 3 years, and there's no space to be able to hide that money. And at the moment, you have to wonder, is Deshaun Watson really a starting quarterback in the NFL? These are questions that you have to ask as you do these things. Now, the Cowboys, instead of getting these deals, this is where it doesn't even make sense. It seems like you make these deals that are low on the front end so that way the money is kicked off later on when the salary cap goes up and you don't take the big hit. But it seems like we keep taking the big hits early and we end up still getting the big hits in the end. It doesn't make any sense. And that's where you look at it and say, it's not like Dak Prescott, who has the second highest cap hit in the NFL right now, is got top money. Dak Prescott is way down the line. He's down there with Daniel Jones and Matthew Stafford at $40 million. You now have 6 guys that are paid above $50 million. It's how you structure it. And the Cowboys' biggest problem is they wait until the end of the contract to do these deals. And by doing that, you're paying today, the money in today's money. And you're just like, what? What are you talking about? Okay. Understanding that the compensation is going to continue to rise. Okay? The money that you're paying the quarterback today, last year was 50 to 55. It's going to be 50 to 60 this year. It's probably going to be 60 to 65 next year. When you understand that you know that the prices are going to continue to rise, then you plan accordingly to go ahead and deal with that. So, what you do is you use the end of the contract there to say to the player, hey, we're going to pay you highest money. You're going to be the highest paid player, right, per year. But here's the key. A.J. Brown, for example, he got $25 million extension, 3-year extension, $25 million. And you look at it and say, oh my God, that's a lot of money. But it really isn't, because they still had 2 years left on his contract. That $25 million doesn't kick in on the cap until 3 years from now. You give him the big bonus, he feels great, because it's like, man, I just got all this big money right here. But in reality, when that money does kick in on the cap hit, he's going to look and say, I'm only getting $25 million a year, when the going rate is going to be 40. But the problem for the Cowboys is, with CeeDee Lamb, he's on the 5th year. He's on the last year of his deal. If you wait till the end of the year and you franchise tag, you're paying him the average salary of the top 5. And if you pay him then, well, that money's got to be accounted for now as opposed to down the road. And this is the philosophical difference. Did I say that right? She's not listening. I have, some people have spell check. I have grammar check. And my grammar check is high. Philosophical?
It's a word.
It's a word. Not a correct word, but it's a word. Philosophical differences. Okay. Philosophical difference in how you do all those things. So that's where we are with the Dallas Cowboys. Stephen Jones, the reality is he's a chemical engineer whose assistant used to, before he worked for the Cowboys, manage servers for Marketplace Grill, and got hired by the Cowboys and has been working with them for 20 years. They haven't learned the game of how you manipulate the cap to get the money. It's like, do y'all not get the memos on some of the things that you can do? Because it seems like their contracts are always messed up. They wait to the last minute. Jerry Jones says deadlines make deals get done. Yeah, they get done, but they don't get done well. It's kind of half-assed. So that's where we are on those situations. Some people will look at it and say, oh, well, see, the Cowboys are just waiting and waiting and waiting. They're going to get rid of that garbage-ass quarterback. No, they're not going to get rid of him. They're just going to wait and wait and wait, and it's going to cost them more and more and more. But that's the Cowboys' way. Anyway, I got to get ready for this meeting and take care of some stuff before we go to the site visits and things. What I'm told is we have the floods happened almost a year ago, and we're going to be doing a lot of muck recovery, basically, and subflooring replacements because of the flood, the mud, and everything else that's run through these things. And you think about this being almost a year later, that some of these places have yet to be touched and worked on. When we see a disaster, we see it in the news for, a week or two, and everybody feels, oh man, we got to do something to help them. People donate a little bit of money, and they think that after that 2 weeks, when you don't hear about it anymore, that it's done and over with. But the reality is it's years in rebuilding. Talking to my friend from Puerto Rico, that we did some of the rebuilds 5 years ago. I guess the hurricane was 6 or 7 years ago. They're still working on some of the roofs and some of the housing from that hurricane that long ago. So that's where we're here to go ahead and do some of this volunteering and trying to help some people get back into their homes. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I hope today's a little slower news day with the Cowboys. That shit was crazy yesterday. Jeez, it was crazy. And tomorrow, of course, is the schedule release. And we will be opening against the Cleveland Browns. Before I get out of here, this is one of those things. It's kind of funny that you kind of had a beef there with David Naku and Micah Parsons. And that's the first game that we play. Almost makes you feel like it's kind of planned. I don't know. Just kind of crazy. But we will be facing the Cleveland Doo-Doo Browns. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys. Peace.